I think you stick to golf a lot longer when you're in an environment where you have your friends. Because actually I think that's what we do. We don't offer sport, we offer connection between people. Most people who don't play golf think we are running around with pesticides. That's the complete opposite of what we do. And I think we have to tell that story more.
Renate Roeleveld, welcome to Changing the Business of Golf.
Well, very happy to be here.
Renate, in this series I ask my guests to propose 3 ideas that would change the business of golf for the better. Before we get on to those, let's find out a little bit about you. Now, you have an unusual story in that you actually started golf and joined the golf industry all at the same time.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. I'm not from a golfing family. We never played golf. When I was studying, I worked at a clubhouse at a golf course, but never played. And then after a nice adventure in South Africa, I came back to the Netherlands. And back then it was not too big yet. Golf was really still sort of like elite private clubs. And I saw an advertisement in the newspaper and I called my best friend and she said, no, it will be fun. And first I said, isn't it Mickey Mouse business?
And what was the job for? So it was a job at a golf course?
It was a sales and events manager at a golf course. And like I say, 25 years later, I'm here. So it wasn't a Mickey Mouse job. It was really, I love the business.
So you started in the industry, but also tell us about your first experience of golf. Did you just start playing the game because it was part of your job, or were you attracted to it? And if so, in what ways?
I'm attracted to every sport to try something new. I was also back in the days when you just started a driving range for like half a year, and I did that. And then of course I started playing. We had a nice par 3-4 course on the course where I was working. So I immediately started playing, and then I continued. And I played a lot in the beginning, of course, to get the hang of it, and then sometimes it goes down a bit because I work a lot. But over 25 years of always, I loved it. I still love it, of course.
What was the experience like? Because we're going to talk a little bit later about encouraging more women, how clubs can go about engaging more women in golf. What was your experience like as a new female golfer?
For me, it might have been a bit different because, of course, I was located at my own course. So the professionals were my colleagues. They know I had to get into it.
But could you see things from the female perspective, from other female customers?
Yes, from a female perspective and from a beginner perspective. Because being new in the industry and being new in golf, you can relate how everybody feels. Yeah, that was a big difference. And for me it was fine. It was at the location where I worked and everywhere were my colleagues but also my friends. So it felt welcoming compared to a completely new golfer.
And we're going to talk a little bit about the new golfer in a short while.
Yeah.
Renate, your first change for the business of golf is to adapt to changing customers. What do you mean by that?
When I look at how the average golfer looks now compared to 25 years ago, it's really a lot different. And I think we have to adapt to the so-called new golfer. So when you want to welcome someone, you have to have someone who looks like the new golfer or the new golfers to welcome them. And I think the people leading a golf course or the boards or whatever, they think from their own perspective, right? And they don't mean it in a bad way, but they just don't have the outlook on how a new golfer or a person different from their lifestyle will enter the game is the thing.
And that's the key thing, isn't it? There is not one generic golfer. There are many different types of customers.
It may be a bit generalizing, but at the beginning, when I started working in golf, the group was far more homogeneous. It was far more, the lawyers, the doctors, the pilots, etc. And of course, they're still there, but now they're part of all the small tribes you see in golf when you're open to it.
Tribes, what do you mean by that?
People who look like each other, right? People who feel the same way, maybe dress the same way, who relate to each other. I think after COVID and with social media, if you like green pants, before if you were only in a red pants environment, you would think you're the odd one off. But because of social media, there are also a lot of other people who like green pants maybe. So you feel strengthened about the fact that there are more people out there who like green pants, right? So it's more like a micro tribe, and that strengthens your character maybe, or your how would I say it, your who you are.
And I guess it's the job of the golf course owner or the operator to better understand who those different groups of customers are and their different behaviours, because they're all going to want and need something different from golf, and it's not all the same thing. It's not necessarily membership or green fees. It could be many different things.
It can be many different, and I think also, who is a golfer? I think you're a golfer when you hit a ball with a golf club. Then you're a golfer, and it shouldn't necessarily have to be 18 holes, 9 holes. If you're on the driving range every week, you're a golfer as well. You might go to a real course one day, or you might not, but then still you're a real golfer, I think. And I think that perspective needs to change. Who is a golfer?
One of the things, you mentioned the pandemic, and one of the things that has changed significantly is the ability for many people to work from home.
Definitely.
How is that translating into the way customers use golf courses, and perhaps how golf courses have to adapt to the different needs of those customers?
And like you say, I think the membership model is really still also based on the traditional golfer, I would say. Full membership, ladies or gents, morning, afternoon, whatever, weekend competitions. But there needs to be room for the new golfer, indeed, who works from home and plays from 7 to 9 in the morning, quick 9-hole rounds, then goes off to work. I think we need more flexible memberships to answer the demands of the customer.
So flexible memberships, but you've also mentioned something interesting there around 9 holes.
Yeah.
And I think you told me previously that actually the number of 9-hole rounds in the Netherlands is outstripping 18-hole rounds.
75% of rounds in the Netherlands are 9 holes. And I think when you really register the rounds as a golf course, you'll be surprised at how many can be 9 holes, or people want to play 9 holes, or that are really 9 holes. At the course I worked, you just booked two times 9 holes when you play 18 holes, 2 tee times. You have a lot more capacity on your golf course. And again, I think more and more people will want to play 9 holes. There was another number in the Netherlands recently that it's either 72 or 76% of people did not handed in less than 20 cards to have their handicap registered. Around 50% did not even hand in 1 card. To me, that means that people are more in there for the fun than for the sport, or as a leisure activity, right? Not a competition anymore. And previous, when I started, you really had to lower your handicap, and that was the thing. And I think that has changed. They're out there playing, being in the green area with their friends.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because the challenge in some ways for the club manager is you have to kind of rearrange or think about the business in a different way. And those types of customers in the past might have been considered, they're not really serious golfers, they're not really serious customers. And yet, from a customer perspective, they're still coming and playing, and they're still bringing money. You just have to understand how they're using the facility in a different way.
But the fact that they're not like you doesn't mean that they're not real golfers, right? They just experience it in a different way. But talk to them and ask them what they want. Ask them how they feel, what they feel golf is about.
So that was the next question really, is how do golf course owners and operators go about better understanding the customers? You can you're a club manager as well as running the association. You stand out there and you talk to customers. You can do surveys.
Of course.
You can do focus groups.
You can do focus groups, but if you just listen, really talk to them, it's not a rocket science, because they will tell you. Why do they play golf? How do they experience it? When you ask what's your rounds, you can either have, I shot 80, or it was so nice to be outside, or already from that small question, you can have so much information, and if you can keep on asking.
Are there things that you've learned by talking to customers that you've then gone away and changed something in the business, or made an adaptation?
So much. Younger people say, I would love to play with people my age, and not to score. I considered ourselves the glue at the golf club between like-minded people And again, like-minded, not necessarily like-minded that they have the same political outview, but you know, younger people working, or women, or elderly people, or the people who just like to play 9 holes and have a Friday afternoon drink. You know, that's the differences that you have to look for. And when you can find like-minded people and glue them together, I think you stick to golf a lot longer when you're in an environment where you have your friends. Because actually, I think that's what we do. We offer a sport, but we don't offer a sport. We offer connection between people.
That's a really interesting point, particularly from a club perspective, because clubs are communities. They're not just places to play golf. So there's value added in by connecting people.
Absolutely, absolutely. Of course, it's double, because you have people playing longer. Because if I meet up with you every week or with a little group, I will not say no very easily when it's Monday afternoon, because then we will play golf together. That's our place and time to meet up. And I really noticed that during COVID that actually we don't have anything to do with the sport. We're a place where people meet each other. We facilitate the meeting of people.
Renate, your second change for the business of golf is to have more women in leadership positions.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
As I told you, I work in golf now for 25 years. In the beginning, that was really a challenge because, of course, still we're an industry where most leadership are men as well, and most customers are men, older men as well. I can give you hundreds of examples of how I've been treated by men, especially when I was younger. That doesn't happen anymore. But then going back to your question, why I want more women leadership, it's not a diversity or inclusion thing, it's really a business thing. I mean, look at the world, the half of them is women. It's such a big business opportunity. But at the same hand, I believe you need women in your leadership team, whether it's a manager or a board member or whatever, because men will never be able to feel like a woman. And I always say we're equal, but we're definitely not the same. And to answer the question of the wants and needs of women, you need a woman to address that.
And this isn't just an ethical point, this is good business as well. There was a study by McKinsey which featured in one of the Syngenta reports that showed that businesses with more diverse leaderships were 21% more likely to earn above average profits. So this isn't just good sentiment or ethical, this is actually good business practice, because it translates from the business, the diversity of thought, new ideas. And as you say in your previous point, it's about understanding the customer.
Exactly. It all comes down to the same thing. And when you have more diversity, whether it's young people, old people, female, whatever, you think differently. So you have different solutions to questions or items, right? So I think indeed it's a no-brainer that having more people who don't think alike at a team, you will be far more creative in your solutions, how you offer your products.
Women particularly are underrepresented in leadership in golf. If the total number of female participants in the world it represents something like 25% of customers. From a management perspective, I think it's something like less than 15% of club managers are women, and it's less than 5% in terms of superintendents and green staff. Yeah. Now you could say that's a challenge, that's really bad, but it's also an opportunity.
I always see things as a challenge, not as a problem. And I think where we're coming from, as I said, I was 25 when I started working in golf. Back then, a woman of 25 working in golf was quite extraordinary, right? And the way I've been approached, it was sometimes really weird, but it made me laugh.
Intimidating, or was it patronising?
Patronising, very patronising. But that's okay, because it doesn't bother me as a person, so that's fine. And it only makes me stronger to pave the way to show that we are needed in the business for a different outlook. So
what would you say to a woman at the moment who perhaps is one of very few women in a leadership position in a particular golf business, who may to some degree be feeling exactly what you experience? What would be your advice to that woman?
Trust your instincts and just go for it. You will do the right thing. You know from your heart why you're doing stuff. Just keep on doing it and you'll get there. Because
it's okay to have different thoughts, to have a different opinion and to bring different ideas, because that's where the value is.
Absolutely. And of course you have to listen to your customer, and you have to listen to your golfer, client, guest, whoever, because that's a characteristic, right, from a woman. This might not be really applauded, but I think a woman in hospitality is doing a better job than a man, because it's in our nature to take care. So also at a golf club, and also at a restaurant or hotel, whatever, it's our tendency is to take care of people. It's, the tendency we have is to take care of people.
But it's about accepting differences and considering ideas that are relevant to customers. There is still, Syngenta's own research showed that there was a $35 billion opportunity to get more women into golf, and actually part of that solution is to have more women leaders.
I must say, in the Netherlands, you just mentioned a number of 48% of the golf course managers in the Netherlands is female.
Wow.
We're very high on. But then
and why is that? I mean, you're the leader of the golf course owners business for Europe, but also in the Netherlands as well. Does that make a difference, do you think?
I think it makes a difference. We're quite high when it comes to female participants in golf. Having said that, it's not that the other countries who have higher numbers all have female managers. So we have to look into that, whether there's a correlation. But I think it comes from the idea of hospitality, and in that sense, it sort of started in golf, that a lot of people from hospitality entered as golf course manager.
And that's perhaps what some of today's customers are looking for as well. But it's an interesting point. It goes back to the Billie Jean King saying about you have to see it to believe it, and that's perhaps what's happening a little bit in the Netherlands.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to ask you about Fab Fridays, because this is an idea of yours that has become recognised in the Netherlands as a female participation programme. Yeah. Tell me about that.
It started because I wanted to have more women looking like me at the golf course. Most women who work part-time have their day off on Friday, so that's why I ended up with Fab for a Fabulous Friday. We started off, and it really took a while before it took off. When you really look at what's happening, you see, again, we're equal, but we're not the same. You see how the difference is of introducing women into golf and men into golf, because we are not the same. And when you start seeing it, you can address those issues, a big word, but
so what are the differences? What would a new female player, what's the experience that they want compared to perhaps the traditional offering served up by golf?
Well, there are a couple of things. One of the things is that women look at the process, and men, very generalizing, right? But women look at the process and men look at the end result, with a risk of having everybody say, well, what do you say? A woman takes more responsibility for her own actions than a man does, in the sense, when someone hits a bad shot, the first thing, generalizing, the first thing a man will do is blame the ball, someone talking, a divot, the club, whatever. And the first thing a woman will ask when she's new into golf, she will say, what did I do wrong? And that is such a big sentence that says so much, because first of all, she wants to improve, but she says to herself, what did I do wrong? So when you encourage them in a completely different way, and when you really focus on what they did right in their shot, and just let them know that not every shot will be perfect, also not when you play golf for 25 years. And that's a difference, and it's more creating a safe environment, in the sense that in our Fab Friday program, we always make sure that there's no one around us, no one in front of us, no one behind us. We also always have a lot of tea times.
So there's no pressure.
So there's no pressure. And because, a woman on a golf course will exactly know who's in front of her, she will exactly know who's behind her, and she will even know what they'll be wearing. And a guy, really generalizing again, really hasn't got a clue.
But it's an interesting point you make. Syngenta has been sponsoring a program called Love.Golf, which is designed specifically for women, and really reflects many of the things that you've said. But one of the interesting points, the founder of that, Alistair Spink, realised that on a driving range, often if it was a lone female with a male professional, shot by shot, each one would be deconstructed. And actually, the best experience was probably a group experience.
Definitely.
Where the pro takes a step back, and actually the women talking to each other
Yes.
give each other confidence.
Yeah.
They experiment, they
Yeah.
learn, they
Yeah.
learn quicker
Yeah.
by playing together out on the course than they do
Yeah.
one by one, because on the range it's intimidating, it's hard, it's
Yeah.
difficult.
Definitely. I always say to my pros also, when you have a mixed group, if they ask, can someone step up, I want to do an exercise, a woman will never be the first one to step up, right? So I said, well, of course, depending on the woman and the group, have a woman, give her the confidence that she can be the right example. The Fab Friday was really for women already who had some sort of golfing experience, not handicap 20 and lower, but just already some golf experience. And we started with new groups as well, so 8-week course. That's now also the Dutch program. It blew my mind because we were already known as in the area as the female-friendly golf course. And it just blew my mind on how many people we had, or how many women we had wanting to attend the course, because it's with women together, and that's a lot safer than with men. And I think that's why the number of women on the new driving ranges is higher, because it's more safe. They can make mistakes, and that's fine, because it's just fun, and that's where the difference is.
Your third change for the business of golf is to change the image of golf. What do you mean by that?
For people who already play golf, they know what is to like about golf, right? We all love the game, we love the outdoors, we love what it brings. But I think the image from people who are not playing golf is still elitist. They still have, I would say, the old golfer in mind. And I think that really needs to change. Some people would reckon in densely populated areas, they take up our space. These elite people take up our space, while I believe we are green lungs in urban areas. We bring biodiversity. We bring a green spot because we take very good care of our golf courses. Most people who don't play golf think we are running around with pesticides. That's the complete opposite of what we do. And I think we have to tell that story more, because I'm convinced that every superintendent or greenkeeper is a lover of nature. Bring that out more. Show what we do. Show the birds you have. Show the otters who live on your golf course, or the foxes running around, the birds. How many birds do we have? But why don't we tell people?
There's an opportunity there, isn't there, to get the data,
yeah,
and then to be able to communicate,
yeah,
positively. And I
yes,
wonder if those two things are linked, because perhaps even some golfers are afraid to admit that they're golfers, because they wonder what the perception is outside.
Yes,
but if we, as you say, if we count, measure, evaluate, and we demonstrate the good things that
absolutely,
we do with
yeah,
those environments,
yeah,
it puts us on a stronger point to communicate, yeah, to our local communities.
When you look at the biggest number of participants now is between 18 and 34. That's not the old white guys anymore playing golf. And I think that's still the perception of people. When you think golf, you think red pants, and it's a long while ago it was like that, but then we have to get that message out there. And I think
those perceptions still persist, though, don't they? And we know this from Syngenta's own research in social media. We published kind of quite an extensive report, which was done, yeah, in association with Ipsos, showing that there is a huge divide there.
Yes.
You're either in or you're out, but
yeah,
people are very, very negative towards golf. They see the irrigation going on, or they have those perceptions about it being old, white, male,
yeah,
stale, elitist,
yeah,
all of
yeah,
those things.
Yeah, we're on a good path, right? And we can't change the world in one day, but as long as we realize it and we do something about it, it will change. And I think we have a lot of new, younger people who are on social media, etc., showing how cool it is. And I think you can see that. You can already see the effect of that on younger people. And when high-end brands start to develop golf brands or golf clothing or golf shoes, whatever. But I think we can do more. And then I'm coming back again to my first change. Change your perspective a bit, and don't look at yourself, but look at the demand and the wants and needs of other people, and then look at what question they would like to have answered. That we're not a bad industry in terms of pesticide fungicide. On the contrary, actually. Having said that, I think it's also very important that we do sort of like educate the golfer a bit more. I had a nice conversation with my head greenkeeper the other day, and he said, yeah, we have to, are we going to spray or we're not going to spray? So I said, but why do we spray? And he said, yeah. So I had a very nice discussion, because who says it only has to be grass? It doesn't necessarily always have to be grass if we want to be friendly to nature. If we explain it, I'm convinced, most people won't even maybe notice, or they won't really be bothered, because they know it's a good thing, because we take care of the earth and the planet.
You mentioned social media, and in terms of changing the perception of golf, changing the face of golf, it's interesting that Syngenta's report highlighted that a lot of the social media content on X, a lot of it is news-led, very negative towards golf. And yet there was a great opportunity around Instagram in particular, that whilst only 1% of golf content, or 1% content was related to golf, the engagement rate was something like 40%. So as a social media platform, it's about being savvy and understanding where you can influence things, where you can change things, and seeing that and being able to present either the course or the people in a positive way on Instagram seems to be an opportunity.
Yeah, and I think it's funny to say, because indeed X is more for the activists and Instagram is more for the lifestyle, right? So I think in that sense it makes perfect sense that that's what is used. But it's again about voice. Please listen to what people say and see how you can answer the question.
And sometimes it's going to be a question of encouraging different voices and different diversity.
Absolutely.
So the fact that a younger person, we have to mind what's said, but if things are said about golf and people are sharing their experiences in a positive way, that can only be a good thing.
Definitely, and I think also what you just said, younger people, I think they're far more. We grew up at a different time. They are far more aware of taking good care of our planet, luckily, than we did. And it was not on purpose, but that was because we didn't think about it, right? But I think we have to realize that they really want us to take good care of the planet. So we have to address that, and don't just think, that's what we need in golf because we've always done it that way. Because, of course, that's a sentence you hear very often. We've always done it that way. Understand, listen to them, look at Instagram, whatever, and see and feel what their needs are. And they want us to take better care of the planet. So let's do that, and let's find out together with companies like Syngenta on how can we do that, and how can we make it better.
In an earlier episode, I was speaking to Greg Nathan from the National Golf Foundation, and he was talking about the need for golf to present itself as fun, as a fun experience.
Yes.
And I thought about that, and I thought it just sounds too simple. But when you look at the level of understanding that already exists around exercise, green spaces, spending time in nature, relaxation, all of those things are kind of already there. But sometimes we fail to communicate golf as a fun experience, or sell it as a fun experience. And that's part of your idea of changing the image of golf as well.
That also stems from the fact that it used to be an 18 holes, we have to score a handicap kind of game, which is fine. But I think the younger golfer doesn't experience it. And we have to show it, and we have to accept the fact that they don't see it like the 18 holes handicap anymore. Just as I said before, there's space for room for private high-end clubs, and I love them as well, because it's a different vibe. But then I think the realization should be more diversification, right? Because who are you addressing? Are you addressing the younger guys who are just having fun? Have music out on your driving range, just address the questions of the people in your community. I think that's the most important thing.
I saw a great photo that you took that kind of encapsulated everything that we're talking about there. I think it was from one of your Fab Fridays. It's two women amongst a group. They're high-fiving each other. They're just celebrating a shot. It didn't show a swing. It didn't show a ball going into a hole. It didn't show a competition or a trophy. It just demonstrated fun.
Yeah, fun. Yeah, have a fun Friday morning. I mean, they played golf, but they came for the cake. No, so it's about fun.
Well, Renate, it's been a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very much for sharing your changes to the business of golf.
Thank you very much. Thanks.